Minnesota Next Weather Alert.
And at 3:02 this afternoon, I'm meteorologist Mike Augustyniak breaking into your programming because we have 2 active tornado warnings in northern Minnesota Lake Country. And we also have a severe thunderstorm watch and a severe thunderstorm warning in much of central Minnesota. So let's start first with the watch, because at some point this afternoon, pretty much all of us are likely to get at least some heavy thunderstorm activity and rain. The 8 p.m. watch, though, here in pink, which includes all of the Twin Cities metro, means that we could also have some of those storms become very intense, with hail up to 2 inches in diameter and gusts to 65 miles an hour. That's coming down the pike in the next couple of hours here in the Twin Cities. But the area of high activity right now is up, as I mentioned, in northern Minnesota. And so we actually have this purple box distinguishes this as an observed tornado. A storm spotter in the vicinity of LaPorte has seen this tornado and has reported it to the National Weather Service. This warning includes Hubbard County, the small part of Hubbard County, until 3:15 p.m. for some hail, yes, but also the potential for that tornado. I want to take a look on radar here using some of the tools that we have to see what we can see. This is a part of the state where the radar beam is pretty high over the ground, and it's a little hard to see what's going on closer to the ground, where tornadoes often form. And what I'm looking for here is any sign of rotation in the radar imagery. And if there is rotation, it's likely lower to the ground than what we're able to see with radar here. This, though, would be the area that we may still be experiencing a tornado on the ground. Take a little closer look here so we can mention some of these towns that are under the gun. Leech Lake, certainly the southern end of Leech Lake and the community of Leech Lake have to be in their shelter right now. Even though this warning does not extend across the border into the next county, we still could end up seeing that happen here over the next few minutes. Again, the storm likely centered right around here and moving generally east or a little south of due east at about 30 miles an hour. There's another tornado warning that just came out, and I want to take a look at that one as well. This one is for Wadena County, and this storm has not been confirmed to be producing a tornado on the ground, but there is a radar indication that that could be happening. So that's this warning right here. That warning goes until 3:30 p.m. And the strongest part of the storm is in the vicinity of Poplar, the way it looks to me right now. So we're going to do the same thing we did with that other storm system and take a little closer look at what's going on using our radar tools. And we definitely see a sign here that we could have some rotation, again, around or just south of Poplar. This is the radar that's coming out of Duluth, so that's kind of to the upper right part of your screen. And what we're seeing here is raindrops being blown that direction toward the radar, and up here, raindrops going the other direction away from the radar. So that means that this area right here could potentially be producing or ultimately produce a tornado very shortly. I'm going to put a storm track on that strongest part of the storm. And actually what I'll do too while we're here is take a look at the hail signature and see if there is any hail being reported. At this point, it doesn't appear so. And our shear indication, that's an indication of how winds change with height, also not really showing a ton. So we'll switch back over to the radar mode here, and I'm going to give us a little bit of space so you can see the towns that are upcoming as this storm system moves off again to the east at about 30 miles an hour. The tornado warning does not extend as far east as Lakeshore or Pequot Lakes Middle and High School. However, at this point, if you're in that area, you need to be paying close attention and get ready to move indoors to the lowest level of your home. A basement is the best option, but if you don't have one of those, an interior room or closet like a bathroom, cover your head and wait out until the storm has passed by. Again, Homebrook coming up at 3:29 if this storm holds together. Pequot Lakes at 3:41, Nisswa at 3:43, and Lake Hubert at 3:46 p.m. These storms are developing in, admittedly, a very kind of cool atmosphere, and the weather conditions at the ground may not necessarily scream to you tornado weather, but I will tell you that there is more than enough wind shear aloft in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And so storms that look like this one, and this is another storm that has this one a severe thunderstorm warning on it, That one goes until 3:30 p.m. for parts of Mille Lacs and Morrison County for hail up to ping pong ball size and a wind speed of 60 miles an hour. These types of storms can spin up a tornado quickly. And in fact, if we roll the radar back a little bit here to a few minutes ago, it was showing some signs of that, at least on radar, that it could be trying to organize with this look here. However, as we jump ahead in time a few minutes to the current radar imagery, now we're seeing more of a wind and hail threat just based on the way this storm looks. Again, it's moving off to the east or a little south of due east at about 35 miles an hour. So I'm going to put a storm track on what appears to be the most dangerous part of that storm as well, and name some of these towns here. Kennebec at 3:46 p.m. and Ogilvie at 3:50 p.m. Again, there is a bigger thunderstorm around this storm track that is also dangerous, but the most dangerous part of the storm, this part right here, is headed generally this direction. I want to show you the forecast because as we go through the afternoon into the evening, this threat is headed toward the Twin Cities as well. However, I will say that I think some of the strongest storms and the highest potential for severe weather may pass just north of I-94, and so therefore just north of much of the Twin Cities metro. But here's some forecast computer model imagery showing thunderstorms firing up around the Twin Cities perhaps as early as 4 or 5 o'clock. This line of broken line and clusters of thunderstorms really moving into the Twin Cities, especially coming up during the dinner hours and at that point across west central Wisconsin as well. And then as we head toward 8 o'clock, that severe weather threat is essentially over. That's why the severe thunderstorm watch only goes until 8 p.m. There might be some additional showers or some downpours rolling through parts of northern Minnesota as well through the later part of the evening. But honestly, I think by then we are really just kind of looking at showers, and then coming up overnight tonight, we're going to see skies clear, setting us up for a nice weekend. But again, in those tornado warning areas, and all that information is scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now, you should, if you're in your home, go to your basement if you have one, or an interior room away from windows. If you're outside, you need to get inside, and you need to do that right now. If you're anywhere up north, I would make sure that you come in from the lake. If you have friends or family out on the lake, give them a text, give them a call, and say, fun's over, at least for a few hours, so that you can be ready to make that trek into a sturdy shelter as opposed to getting caught on the lake or having to shelter in a shed or a boathouse or something like that. And then if anybody is out driving, obviously the best thing to do is to get closer into a shelter as opposed to staying in your car. But if you do get caught in a car, you can kind of not pull over on the highway. That's one of the worst things you can do, but pull over on a side street, exit the highway. And if you're really being threatened by a tornado, getting into a low-lying ditch and covering your head in the car are two not great options, but better than nothing. Again, we're going to keep an eye on these storms. We're going to send you back to regular programming for now. We'll have continued radar updates streaming on CBS News Minnesota, also on the free CBS News app, which has weather information and warning alerts in there. And of course, our newscast starts at 4.